Hi everyone, my name is Natasha Anderson and I am the Software Engineering Practices Lead at Standard Bank. Thank you for joining me today on my talk, The Art of Practices, What Happens When a Tester Like Me Gets Hold of the Paintbrush. My team and I are responsible for helping teams and individuals across the group get excited about and better at software engineering. So for some teams, we help them understand and implement modern engineering practices like DevOps or SRE, for example. For others, we help them expand on the adoption journey. And we work with other practice teams to advance engineering by collaboration. My love for engineering started very early on in my life. As a child, I spent most of my time breaking things apart just to understand how they work, what they look like on the inside. I love solving puzzles. I love building things. So the day I wrote my first piece or lines of code, it was in BASIC of all things. I remember going home and declaring with as much certainty as any 12-year-old could, this was it. This is what I wanted to do. And so for me, this was one of the defining moments in my life. And from that simple childhood declaration, I've since been able to take on various roles in this industry. So I've coded, I've tested, I've trained and I've coached, and the excitement and fulfillment, I suppose, that I get from doing the kind of job I do always stems from being able to solve problems, being able to be creative and to connect with people. So as the engineering practices lead, I wake up every day with this excitement and immense gratitude, I suppose, that I can dream up ideas and work with an absolutely extraordinary bunch of people to bring them to life. I get to engage with and partner with like-minded people from across the group. And, I think it's important for me. I see my time here as an opportunity to contribute to the growth of my organization, to my country, and my continent in whatever small way I can. So what I'd like to do with you guys today is, first of all, to share some of the foundations in establishing practices, the challenges we've faced and have overcome, the lessons we've learned along the way. So in this section, what I'm going to do is just share what the practice is, how we've defined it, a short history in terms of how we got here, and an overview of our strategy and a brief look at some of the items that we've created in our toolbox. Our transformation journey has been well underway. And some key highlights include the implementation of the Scaled Agile framework, journey to cloud, the huge amount of work that we've done on data science and machine learning. And so when I joined in 2017, the bank had already been implementing DevOps, and pockets of excellence were sprouting up all over the place. Open source was used. Soapboxes and knowledge sharing sessions were a commonplace even back then. From a practices perspective, we had practices representing multiple domains of expertise and technologies and specific engineering practices, for example, development or quality engineering. However, by the end of 2018, the organization was ready to shift us up to the next gear, to embark on the next phase, and one which led to the reshaping of our organization to allow autonomies across the various lines of businesses. And it was at this time that we collapsed some practices into a single engineering practice. And our role is to define what good engineering practices look like. So at a very high level, what the practice is responsible is for driving improvements of engineering methods and tools and techniques based on lean and agile principles, for developing metrics and measures to create visibility at an enterprise level for the state of engineering across the organization, for developing methods for attracting and growing talented individuals into the group, for creating and building an engineering culture with engineers in the organization through continuous learning, through knowledge sharing, and through platforms that allow them to evangelize engineering. So my previous practice was the test automation and the research and development practice. And that practice was collapsed as part of the changes at the end of 2018. So it was at that point that I took on the new challenge of establishing the software engineering practice. And with a brand new canvas to start creating this masterpiece, I began to ask myself, how will this practice be different? How will we make a difference? How will we make an impact? How will we move this organization forward? And so in the first weeks, being back in early 2019, we set ourselves the exam question: how can software engineering be our competitive advantage? going through the state of DevOps report. At the time, looking at the metrics, it was research based on Gartner and the Accelerate books in DevOps for the modern enterprise. And this data, especially from the State of DevOps report, that operating in the low IT performance world was surely a route to irrelevance. The distance between them and the elite and high IT performance was quickly becoming very far apart. Yet, we live in a world where the technology and the learning is available for us and already showed us what was possible. And so with this exam question, we then set out to look at what industry leaders were doing. And we asked ourselves, well, how are these guys moving? How are the elite performers able to respond to outages so quickly, being able to implement changes so quickly? How is this rate possible? And it was then that we looked at, well, it's continuity. So continuous integration, continuous deployment, continuous testing, continuous monitoring, everything needed to be continuous. For us to be able to do that as an organization, we looked at some areas that we needed to make some shifts in. Some were underway, but we needed to get away from these pockets of excellence to get into it being commonplace. So for making the shift to continuous, right, we needed to shift the focus for our team from just delivering features to delivering real customer value, to get them to continuously ask, is this going to deliver real impact? And how will I know? We all live in a sharing economy, and we know that we go so much further with each other than if we try to go at this alone. So we needed to shift from seeing our suppliers as just vendors to partners we can co-create and innovate with. We needed to make sure that the shifts in engineering, the improvement initiatives